Good evening. Happy Tuesday. It is July the 14th. I had to look just to make sure because I've been screwing the date up so much. And these are some of the headlines on bizarrebus.com. Ghislaine Maxwell pleads not guilty in Epstein's sex trafficking ring, probably so she can get a deal. Refrigerated trucks requested in Arizona and Texas as morgues reach capacity. Jet makes emergency landing after passengers threaten to kill everybody unless they admit that Jesus is black. Record numbers of Americans trying to buy guns. 1,000-degree fire burns for third day on Navy ship in San Diego. And wild bison are returning to England's forests for the first time in 6,000 years. That's amazing. All of these headlines and more on bizarrebus.com. Ghislaine Maxwell pled not guilty today, probably so she could get a deal. A federal judge denied bail to Ghislaine Maxwell, who is accused of recruiting and grooming underage girls in the Epstein case, where he didn't kill himself. We all know what happened to him. He got Clintoned. On Tuesday afternoon, Maxwell appeared at the arraignment initial scheduling conference and bail hearing remotely via video conference from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. She pleaded not guilty. U.S. District Judge Allison J. Nathan set Maxwell's trial for July 12th, 2021. Is she going to be alive by then? And said that given Maxwell's significant wealth and foreign connections, no combination of conditions could reasonably ensure her presence at court. The risks are too great. I couldn't agree more. Assistant U.S. Prosecutor Alison Moe argued the 58-year-old British socialite has the ability and willingness to live off the grid indefinitely, and wasn't candid with the court or a pretrial service officer about her financial means, listing less than $1 million in her accounts and zero monthly income. She has not earned the court's trust. Moe said that Maxwell proposed to stay at a luxury hotel in Manhattan upon release, but provided no detailed accounting of her finances. But Maxwell's lawyer, Mark Cohen, said that his client has been the target of endless media spin and is being portrayed as a monster by both the press and the government. Well, you know as well as I do what she's done. This guy's an idiot. Cohen argued Maxwell has proven she's not a flight risk because she stayed in the country after Epstein's arrest and has litigated civil cases brought by accusers in the district since 2015. He said when you take the spin off the media, there's no case. Bullshit, dude. Bullshit. Judge Nathan disagreed, saying the nature of the alleged crime weighs in favor of detention and that Maxwell has demonstrated sophistication in hiding her finances and herself in several locations throughout New England. Maxwell was arrested July 2nd at a luxurious New Hampshire hideaway she'd purchased for nearly $1 million in cash last summer while allegedly dodging the feds. She used another couple's name to buy the property. According to another story that I read today, so she didn't even do it in her real name. She's totally dodging, dude. Prosecutors said on Tuesday that Maxwell's trial would take about 2 weeks, including another week set aside for jury selection. Most said the discovery in the case would include search warrant returns, subpoena returns, including business records, photographs, and searches from electronic devices. It will also include prior investigative files from the FBI relating to Epstein's 2007 criminal case in the Southern District of Florida. 2 victims shared comments at Tuesday's bail hearing. Moe read a statement from one victim, identified only as Jane Doe, who said she's known Maxwell for more than a decade. The woman claimed Maxwell's calculating and sadistic manipulation led her into the hands of Epstein. Without Ghislaine, Jeffrey would not have been able to do what he did. Lots more on this particular story, but you can read it yourself. I've got it linked at bizarrebus.com. Some Arizona and Texas counties are running out of space in their morgues due to the pestilence and have put out calls for refrigerated trucks in which to store bodies and help take some pressure off the local medical examiners' offices. A long expected upturn in U.S. COVID-19 deaths across the U.S. has begun, driven by fatalities in state in the South and West. The number of deaths per day from the virus has been falling for months and even remained down as states like Florida and Texas saw explosion in cases in hospitals. And reported daily U.S. infections broke records several times in recent days. Unfortunately, scientists warned it wouldn't last. A coronavirus death, when it occurs, typically comes several weeks after a person's first infected, and experts predicted states that saw increases in cases and hospitalizations would at some point see deaths rise too, and that's what's happening now. In hard-hit Houston, Texas, two top Democratic officials called for the nation's fourth largest city to be back on lockdown as area hospitals strain to accommodate the onslaught of sick patients. The pestilent deaths rapidly increased in Texas and Arizona. Two emerging hotspots of the virus are facing a similar scenario to New York's experience during the onset of the pandemic in March. So they got a long way to go. In Arizona, one Phoenix hospital has called for morgue trucks to help alleviate rapidly growing death count due to the ongoing pandemic. In addition to the heat being an issue, they're out of room. Asbro hospitals currently have adequate morgue space. This is Asbro Health in Phoenix. While its hospitals currently have adequate morgue space, the state has asked hospitals to implement emergency plans because they know what's coming. The state has requested that hospitals implement their emergency plans. Part of activating our plan includes the ability to handle overflow morgue capacity if needed. I mispronounced that. Abrazo has taken a proactive approach by ordering refrigerated storage in the event it may be needed. At this point, it's not needed. We do agree with the mayor's points around promoting awareness around masking, continuing to practice social distancing, and seeking medical care in the event of an emergency. And that's, I think, another issue is people are afraid to go to the hospital, dude. It's like where you get it, so, or part of where you get it. No one's trying to deal with that. Also, it's a nightmare. You go there and sit for hours, so that's a thing. Arizona's health department said that 671 patients were on ventilators and 936 were occupying ICUs as of July 12th. Hospitals were hovering around 90% capacity. In Texas, several counties have called for the refrigerated trucks. In Texas, the state surpassed 3,000 lives lost due to the pestilence. According to the health department, just a day before that, the state reported more than 100 deaths in a single day. In addition to those deaths, Texas reported a new high for hospitalizations. A few weeks ago, they were at like 98%. So there's a lot more on this. You can read it. I'm going to link it at bizarrebus.com. Jet makes emergency landing after passengers threatened to kill everybody unless they accepted that Jesus was a black man. There is video. I really probably can't show that here. I don't want to get banned, but you can go to bizarrebus.com and just click on the link and you can see it for yourself. In Alaska, Airlines flight had to make an emergency landing on Saturday night after everybody was threatened to be killed. Flight 422 from Seattle, Washington to Chicago, Illinois took off just after 11 p.m., but the flyer is accused of threatening people roughly 20 minutes into the flight. Dude, this is why we need air marshals, or at least some people. I mean, how did they did they have weapons? I mean, what's up? The man became extremely belligerent and physically aggressive during the ascent. An Alaska Airlines spokesperson told The Sun on Monday. Video from a passenger on the flight, published by King TV, shows the masked man shouting at those on board, telling them he'd kill them in the name of Jesus. Well, no, dude. Pretty sure that's not what Jesus would want you to be doing. He said, I will kill everybody. I'll kill everybody on this plane unless you accept Jesus was a black man. Well, how does he know that people don't already feel that way? Calm the fuck down, dude. Just chill. Accept it. Die in the name of Jesus, the man shouted as 2 passengers worked to grab him. As he's being restrained by a group of people, he continues to shout, die in the name of Jesus. So, are you on drugs or what's up? During the incident, a man involved in subduing the man is hearing reassuring a nearby passenger that it'll be okay. Knock that fucker out. That's what you need to do. The airline said that members of the flight crew, 2 passengers, and a law enforcement officer who happened to be on the plane quickly subdued the man. The airplane returned safely to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, and the passenger was taken into custody. Flight 422, and he looks to be a light-skinned man or of Middle Eastern descent, I can't tell. Flight 422 was canceled, and those who were flying to Chicago that night were booked on the next available flight to the city. The man was unarmed and was cooperative while being arrested. They did not identify him because the man hasn't been charged with anything related to the outbursts on the plane. He was, however, reportedly booked into the King County Jail on suspicion of harassment. No one is said to have been hurt during the incident. Okay. That dude needs to be put away in a restraining jacket somewhere. You can check out the video at bizarrebus.com. A record number of Americans are buying guns, and gun sales skyrocket amid the pestilence and unrest fears. Nearly 20 million Americans are packing when they travel out of the house, and that total is growing. So keep that in mind when you run your fucking mouth. Just saying. You don't know who's packing, dude. If somebody feels threatened, dude, they're going to pull on you. That's what I'm talking about. Help yourself out. Or, just stay on the defense, dude. That's all I'm telling you. When it comes to uncertain times, Americans are turning to guns in droves. According to FBI reports, the agency conducted background checks on nearly 4 million people looking to buy guns in the month of March alone. So you can imagine what it is now. A figure more than 1 million higher than the previous March. People are turning on the news and looking at what's happening in their neighborhoods, and they can't help but be concerned. Says Dan, a Denver-based former cop turned firearms instructor. People instinctively know that the police are minutes away when seconds count, but they want to be able to protect themselves and their families should the need arise. And are they that close now that there's just freaking protests and shit everywhere, and it's taking up their time and resources. Are they minutes away, though? For security and survival consultant Alan Kay, the situation for many Americans has become dire. The systems that we count on for protection have become unreliable. Exactly. People are scared, and rightly so, and they're arming themselves at historic levels. In addition to, I've seen videos of people getting just approached by other people that feel entitled and starting shit with them because of their skin color. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen the videos. It goes each way, dude. So I don't even need to name skin colors. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Predovich of other firearms trainers have seen surge in interest in what are called concealed carry classes, instruction necessary to obtain a permit to legally carry a concealed firearm. The majority of states now have some form of concealed carry on the books, though exactly what is legally allowed varies by jurisdiction. While some states honor out-of-state permits, others do not, and that is the truth there. You better, if you're in a different state than what your concealed carry permit is for, beware. You need to get one for the state you're going to if you're leaving state and plan to carry. Also, there's an insurance company that covers this kind of thing. Can't remember the name of it. USA firearm. I don't know, dude. Glenn Beck advertises them all the time, but for sure, might not be a bad idea. It's not that expensive, and they'll cover your legal costs if some shit should arise where you gotta pull your shit on somebody because they acted an ass. Let's say in front of your house, and you were within your right to protect your property. Or maybe you're coming out of a store and somebody starts some BS with you. You have to pull out on them. You know what I'm saying. If you're traveling outside your country or state, it's important to know the laws of those other venues before you carry. Getting firearm training is vital. Carrying a paintbrush does not make you an artist. You're damn right it doesn't. Without proper training, a firearm may be more of a liability than an asset, and it can land you in prison the rest of your life if you are not careful. We've seen record sales since the pandemic, says Cody Osborne of Walter Firearms, the company famous for producing handguns preferred by Ian Fleming's James Bond character. Couple that with recent civil unrest across the country, and people want to ensure their own safety. Go to almost any range in America right now, and it'll be busy. There are roughly 150 million gun owners in America, and according to Gallup, 42% of American households reported owning firearms. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 75 times the size of the Chinese army and largest standing force in the world. Think about that, dude. Think about that. In any event, if you would like to, and that firearms are hard to get, they're just out of them, man. They're making them as fast as they can, and they're just out of them. I have a link on bizarrebus.com on the news page next to this story. If you would like to buy one online, you can do so, and any other accessories you might need. That's not a plug necessarily. I'm just helping out. In case you are interested, be careful, be aware of what's going on out there, y'all. I'm going to link this at bizarrebus.com. A 1,000-degree blaze continues to rage aboard Navy ship in San Diego. The fire has brought down the USS Bonham Richards forward mast. It's been going on for 3 days now. More than 400 sailors are working to put out the massive fire that continues to rage aboard the USS Bonham Richard in San Diego, and Navy officials are unclear how long the blaze might continue to burn. The fires brought down the amphibious assault ship's forward mast and caused other damage to the ship's substructure that rises above its flight deck. There's a tremendous amount of heat underneath, and that's where it's flashing up. Also forward, closer to the bow. Again, there's a heat source, and we're trying to get to that as well, says Rear Admiral Philip Sobeck, the commander of the Expeditionary Strike Group 3, said that at a news conference on Monday in San Diego. Sobeck said that the temperature in the fire's heat sources are reaching as high as 1,000 degrees. With temperatures that high, the sailors are rotating on 15-minute firefighting shifts. Asked if he believes the ship could be saved, he said, "I absolutely feel hopeful because we have sailors giving it their all, although I've read in other stories it's unsalvageable at this point." He also expressed confidence that the fire will not get close to the ship's supply of 1 million gallons of fuel, which lies 2 decks below the blaze. I don't know how that's not gonna happen. So if you hear a big bang in the area, that's probably it. Get the hell out of there. The fire continues to cause damage to the ship's substructure, which rises above its flight deck and has brought down one of the 2 masts that tower above. Sobeck acknowledged that the ship's halon fire suppression system, which could have put out the initial fire, was not activated because it was also receiving maintenance. Does that sound coincidental to you? We again augment that with firefighting elements from the pier and the shipyard. Teams of sailors were pouring water onto the ship from the pier and from tugboats along its side. Navy helicopters have also dropped 415 buckets of water on the ship to contain the fire, much as they have done in the past to help put out wildfires. There were 57 sailors injured after the fire started aboard the ship on Sunday. Most have been treated for exhaustion and smoke inhalation. A U.S. official told ABC News that the last 5 individuals who remained hospitalized have been released from the hospital. That's good. No one was hurt, apparently, like too bad. Sobek had no information about how the fire started, but it originated on the lower V part of the ship's aft section, which normally holds equipment used by Marines when they are aboard the vessel. Since the ship has been in maintenance, it has been used to hold maintenance supplies, including lots of cardboard boxes. That's not good either. Because the ship was in the shipyard, there's a lot of scaffolding and lots of debris in the way, explaining that it has hampered firefighting efforts. He said the initial fire was too much for the sailors aboard the ship at the time, which is why they called for civilian San Diego fire units to assist. But the blaze continued to expand, setting off an explosion aboard the ship. Right now we're testing and we're checking everything that we know, and we're well within EPA standards. There's nothing else on board the ship that would be toxic in nature aside from the fuel aboard. Lots more to this. I'm going to link it at bizarreabyss.com. Well, let's take a small break to show you the new Bizarre Abyss face mask. Oh my gosh, y'all. You asked for it. You got it. $12.99. I'm sorry. That's the best we could do, y'all. We really tried to keep it lower than that. I really wanted to keep it $10.99, but I could not get it any lower. Offers full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 6-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, as you of course know, and $1 from every mask sale is donated to nonprofit to feed the children in need. Comes in black, gray, white, and red. So feel free to check that out. Go to bizarreabyss.com and get yours today if you would like to support us. Finally tonight, some good news because a friend asked for it on TikTok. Here you go, buddy. A relative of the iconic beast that roams the Great American Plains is going to be released in an ancient forest in Kent, England, where they haven't resided for over 6,000 years. But the 4 animals won't be arriving by way of South Dakota or Wyoming because Europe has their own subspecies, the European wood bison. Makes me want to put on my wood dancing outfit and go out there and give it a midnight moon whirl. The project is slated to begin in the spring of 2022 when a single male bison, Bonasus, and 3 females arriving from Poland and the Netherlands will be allowed to roam and reproduce naturally in the remaining wilds of Britain, and it is hoped that their presence will ignite a chain reaction throughout the forest. Dude, that rules! Bison have the power to change a forest in dramatic ways that humans don't have the time or manpower for, and they are being considered as a possible solution to species loss in Great Britain. The project is called Wilder Blean, named for the reintroduction site, West Blean Woods, was organized by the Kent Wildlife Trust. The experiment isn't just about bringing the bison back for the sake of something to look at. It's part of a controlled trial to see if the large herbivore can reinvigorate forest ecosystems more productively than conservationists. European bison are being used in this project because they are ecosystem engineers, meaning they are able to change their environment through their natural behaviors, explains the KWT on their website. Bison can change woodlands in a way that no other animal can. Dude, I'm so excited. Once ranging across the continent since the last ice age, European bison were hunted to extinction in the wild, but have since been reintroduced from captivity into several countries, mostly the forests of Poland, where smaller populations spread out across Eastern and Southern Europe. They do look similar. There's a picture on here on the link. They look very similar to American bison, maybe a little smaller, or maybe this one is just a little smaller because it's, like younger or something, but they don't look as fluffy and full in the face. But they have horns. This one does. Known as a keystone species similar to krill in the ocean, tigers in India, or bees in the meadow, bison provide services that allow ecosystems they live in to operate at a much higher capacity in terms of ecosystem activity. In conservation terms, a keystone species is one that plays a role in the preservation of other species and the ecology as a whole. Bison are forestry experts. Bison kill weak or dead trees by eating their bark or rubbing against them to remove their thick winter fur. This turns the tree into food and habitat for insects, which in turn provide food for birds. The resulting pocket of sunlight allows new plants to grow, replenishing the woodland. In an unexpected way, the attempted restoration of bison in the English ecosystem is more about halting England's current species loss than it is about restoring some kind of Stone Age ecology to the island. And while the KWT anticipate a keystone species like bison bringing additional eyes upon the value of conservation and the health benefits of interacting with great nature, the purpose of the project is to create healthier English forests that can support larger numbers of animals. Dude, that is freaking awesome. And there's more to it. I'll let you read it. And I'm going to link it at bizarrebus.com. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And tomorrow it's hump day, right? So we'll have made it midweek. Let's call it hump day eve. All right, y'all. I'll catch you tomorrow.